This week I want to share with you something I did not know about gunshots. I want to talk to you about what you can do about this problem, and I also want to give you a bonus tip. Hi, this is Larry Kaye with ShadowAnyone.com and the creator of the Investigator's Ultimate Guide series, premium private investigator training from someone who's been there and done that. Here's the thing I did not know, and this information started to come out just about a year ago. You may have heard of, especially overseas, Iraq, Afghanistan, the government using acoustic sensors to zero in on where gunshots are. And these are sensors that can be placed at different intervals, and because of the shock waves, the sound waves of a gunshot, they can determine pretty quickly and triangulate in on the location of the gunshot. Well, this technology has started to make its way into American cities, and it's not that uncommon in large American cities for this technology to be out there. But specifically, I want to look at Brooklyn and the Bronx because there, back in 2015, these acoustic sensors were put into place starting in about April or May. And then at the end of the year, just about a year ago to the day, they tallied up some numbers to see what was going on back there that first 8-9 months that they were using them, to get some interesting numbers. Here's the thing that probably you do not know that I did not know, and that is that of the gunshots that the acoustics recorded, about 80% of them, nobody called the police. In other words, out of every 100 gunshots, out of every 100 shootings, maybe at someone, maybe just into the air, it's hard to say, but about 80 of those would not be called in. So 80%, 75% to 80% are not called into the police. Now, this is something I did not know, but actually fairly recently, since learning these statistics, I've actually seen this firsthand now. And it involved a shootout between two guys down in the neighborhood, like one of those little quickie marts where the corner boys hang out and sell dope. And two guys started shooting back and forth at each other. There were about 8 people in the parking lot and around it. All ran, went for cover, dove into the shop and dove for cover. And the shooting only lasted, really, you'd measure it in seconds, maybe 12 seconds to 20 seconds at the most, and then both people took off, both of the shooters. I was the only one to call the police. In the entire neighborhood, I was the only one who called the police. Now, at the time, it struck me as funny or odd, but immediately this statistic where the 75% to 80% of gunshots are not reported to the police, or there's no corresponding 911 call, to be very technical there and explain to you that. But I've seen it myself now. So here, as a private investigator, I did not know this, and I didn't know this for years, for decades that I've been doing this stuff. So how, as someone who does investigate and do criminal defense work and other types of things, why has this lack of knowledge not burned me up till now? Why has this not tripped me up to this point? Here's the thing, it goes back to something I talk about a lot. It's not the bonus tip I'm going to give you, but this is a big thing. I go out of the office. When you go out and you do investigations, you're going to discover things like this. You're going to know when you talk to people, if you're interested in a shooting or something that's going on, and you start talking to people, people will tell you about, yeah, I heard some shots. Or, yeah, somebody was throwing shots over there the other day. Or I heard 3 shots. They sounded kind of like, not close, but not super far away, maybe 1 block over. The interviews and talking to people will tell you these things. If you are the type of investigator, and I almost want to use those air quotes, that quote-unquote investigator, that just sits and pulls police records, pulls public records, looks at computer databases, these 80% of these shootings are not going to show up. You see what I'm saying? So what I want you to do whenever you're working any case, get out there, and when the time is right in the investigation, you may not start out right away with interviews. Of course you're going to do your database searches in preparation. Of course you're going to look at police reports in the area. You're going to do all the foundational work, but don't stop there. Be a really good investigator. Stand out from your competition, if nothing else from a business point of view. You're going to have greater success, and that's going to mean more business for you. You're going to have happier clients, repeat clients, when you get this information that other investigators are not bringing forward. So my lack of knowledge, the fact that I didn't know how few times gunshots are actually called into the police, has never hurt me, because I've gone out and I do the investigations outside of the office. The real bonus tip I want to give you here is something that I've kind of known longer than I've known this, but it's almost like kind of an urban skill in a sense, reading the signs, knowing what's going on. The residue, the remnants that will be left over aside from talking to people that there might have been a shooting, will be police reports of all things, get this, vandalism. Because in the morning or the next day, the citizens in the area, they'll go outside and they'll find a bullet hole in their car, or they'll find where somebody shot into their house. Maybe, sooner than that. You'll find like a bullet goes through a window, something like that. People will call more quickly. But a lot of times these bullet holes aren't found for 24, 48, 72 hours. And then people will call the police. Maybe they'll file a report. Maybe there'll just be a police run where they wanted to show the officer or ask the officer about it. And if you know about public records, looking through public records, you know the difference between a police run and a police report. But my point is, the bonus tip for you here is, look in that immediate area for vandalism reports in addition to shooting reports. And that we kind of think of this low-level miscellaneous type things, these misdemeanor crimes like maybe a vandalism. We dismiss those, but they really can tell you a lot about what's going on in a neighborhood. And just because, and you'll see this in the news all the time, where you'll get a report of someone shot into a house. Boy, oh boy, I'll tell you this, it's not always that they were shooting into that particular house. Many times it's a stray bullet. And there's a bonus tip on top of the bonus tip for you. Just because you hear a news report that someone shot into a house doesn't mean that that house was the target. It's a lot of information here for you today as we're closing up the year, and I want to say Happy New Year to you. Thank you for watching the videos throughout the year, following along. If you've been on the edge about whether or not it's time for you to get some training, training above and beyond the free things that you're learning online, please do go over to shadowanyone.com and take a look at my training materials. I think you'll be very pleased with them. This is Larry Kaye with shadowanyone.com. Remember, do the right thing, even if it's the hard thing.